it going, everybody? So as 2023 is coming to a close, we have our end of the year list, just like always. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get to my top 10 best movies of 2023, but in the meantime, I do have my top 10 worst movies of 2023. Love to know your top 10 worst movies that you've seen this year in the comments section. So before I get into my top 10 worst films, let's get into some dishonorable mentions, which include The Haunted Mansion, The Mother, The Exorcist Believer, The Machine, and Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. All of those films just missed out on the cut here, so let's get right into my number 10 pick. At number 10, I have Heart of Stone. Just like every single year, Netflix puts out a wide array of action films that are largely forgettable, and Heart of Stone, in my opinion, is one of their worst examples in recent years. Somehow the film manages to attempt to Frankenstein together elements from all of the various different popular spy franchises. One they're ripping off the most, though, by far, is Mission Impossible. And there's nothing wrong with taking elements from a popular franchise and injecting them into a new one, but they just do all of those elements here so poorly. The majority of the action sequences in Heart of Stone lack all tension and excitement, and the acting by large is also atrocious, and the script does them no favors here. This movie gives you absolutely no reason to care about Gal Gadot's character at all. Gal Gadot as an actress has not been great, and as much as they were trying to push this as their next big Netflix action movie franchise, I don't think that's going to be the case here. At number 9, I have Ghosted. This one genuinely hurt to put on this list, because on paper, a spy romantic comedy that stars Chris Evans and Ana de Armas from the director of Rocketman sounds like an amazing idea, yet somehow this movie is just a mess, and not even in the fun type of way. Every aspect in the movie falters substantially. The spy action elements look horrendous visually. The script here almost feels like it was generated by AI due to the amount of predictable tropes. And the worst thing of all is, as much as I love Chris Evans and Ana de Armas, they have next to no chemistry together, which is a massive misfire when you're following them along on this romantic comedy, and there's just no spark. There's no charm or fun to be had, even when they do try to throw in all these different random celebrity cameos. By far, this is one of my most disappointing experiences, I would say in theaters, but this was a straight-to-digital movie on Apple TV+. At number 8, I have Shotgun Wedding. Several of my issues I have with Shotgun Wedding are quite similar to Ghosted, but I just think Shotgun Wedding does them slightly better. There are some things in here that are a little bit more tolerable. I think the one somewhat saving grace is Jennifer Coolidge. Besides Jennifer Coolidge, a lot of the other elements in Shotgun Wedding fall quite flat. Depending on what the situation calls for, Josh Duhamel and Jennifer Lopez have some level of chemistry. At this point, I'm kind of tired of this subgenre that Jennifer Lopez has created, where it's just another adventure where she's getting married to somebody. There's so many examples of Jennifer Lopez getting married in a movie and shenanigans ensue that it's practically its own subgenre. Similar to a lot of those movies in that subgenre, this is yet another disposable, forgettable entry. At number 7, I have Murder Mystery 2. Now, to be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of the first Murder Mystery. It was tolerable. In a sense, I guess it is one of the better Netflix Adam Sandler movies, but it was so popular that we got a sequel. The sequel was about as bland and on par as what you would expect. Unlike the majority of the time when you get a sequel, this follow-up doesn't really try to raise the bar whatsoever or upping the quality in any way. It's your standard basic adventure, and again, just another Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston movie where they're sleepwalking through all these luxurious locations. The movie is almost perfectly designed to be something that you just throw on in the background, just for noise, only occasionally glancing up at while you're doing something else. It's a little bit more exciting. At number 6, I have Expendables 4, or Expend-4bles, just based on what it looks like on the poster. At one point in time, I thought the Expendables franchise was a lot of fun. They pretty much were like the quintessential dad Avengers, where all of these former action movie stars of the 80s were put together in one movie, and for the most part, that formula was pretty entertaining. This fourth one, however, felt like the true nail in the coffin to just retire this whole thing. By this point, there's just nothing left to give with this cast. Jason Statham tries the most. The majority of this cast is just given nothing worthwhile to work with. The big stuff that you come to these movies for, the big over-the-top action spectacle, it looks terrible. It's some of the worst action set pieces that I've seen all of 2023, and a lot of that does include the poor use of green screen. So at this point, as much as I enjoyed some of the earlier entries in this franchise, I think the fourth one is the final one for me. I don't know if I want to come back for an Expendables 5. At number 5, I have Zoe 102. Out of all of these different Nickelodeon revivals that they've been doing lately to kind of capitalize on that nostalgia for millennials and Gen Zers, this one felt like the one that was the most pointless of them all. It tries to cobble together together a story to bring everyone back and just fails as far as delivering anything interesting. None of these character interactions are enjoyable, especially Zoe, where it's just kind of sad seeing the life that she's had ever since the last time we saw her in Zoey 101. Also, this movie just drags. There's nothing about it that makes me excited to watch it. The movie has nothing interesting to say, and it wastes way too much time on awful subplots. And even as a fan of the original show, it just felt like a big waste of time if this is going to be your big reunion. At number 4, I have Spy Kids Armageddon. Growing up with the Spy Kids franchise, while I'm always excited for new entries and try to give them a chance, I have pretty much accepted at this point that I am not the target audience. But even still, this attempt to breathe new life into Spy Kids left a whole lot to be desired. Objectively, this movie never warrants its existence, choosing to be overly derivative of the past films, just far less palatable, outdated attempts at humor, and a cast of characters who are far worse. That's not a knock on the kids. I don't think they're great at all, but they are kids. It's the whole cast at large here that is not great. In particular, Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez. Both of them are flat, and never for a second did I buy that they were this cool married couple. And even if at this point it's like a Robert Rodriguez staple, I am just so tired of the horrible green screen in his movies. Considering how much technology is advanced, I wish that we would just have actual sets and not green screen, blue screen everywhere. At number 3, I have House Party. Now, I don't talk about it all that often, but I actually quite like the House Party franchise, especially the first 2 films. Growing up, I watched the first 2 over and over. I thought Kid and Play were so much fun. More modern reboot of the franchise, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. In every facet, it just fails, lacking all of the charm or likable characters, which were a main part of the appeal of the original movie. The biggest sin, it just isn't funny. It's just an overall cringe fest, and is heavily reliant on celebrity cameos. I guess the appeal of LeBron James in particular, because he had a big part in producing this new version. Now, I'm not anti-LeBron James or anything, but I don't know what he was trying to cook here with this new interpretation of House Party. Now, I'm not a huge fan of David Zaslav. I think it is terrible what he's been doing lately, as far as shelving all these movies, like the Batgirl film or Coyote vs. Acme. House Party is a movie I think he should have also thrown into that pile. At number 2, I have Knights of the Zodiac. In a year where it felt like we finally cracked the code as far as making actual entertaining live-action adaptations of anime, there are movies like Knights of the Zodiac which bring you back down to earth and reminds you why One Piece might just be an outlier, which is very hilarious considering that Mackenyu stars in both One Piece and this film. Like many films of this type, it does a poor job attempting to adapt the anime. Due to that, it filters everything into this generic, lifeless husk that's made a chore to sit through because most of the characters that you're following are extremely boring. Mackenyu was fantastic in One Piece. I don't know what happened here with his portrayal as the protagonist here. No charisma at all. The worst thing of all about Knights of the Zodiac is the action sequences. There is potential here for them to be fairly decent. A lot of them are weirdly chopped together. And on top of that, just have some of the worst visual effects I've seen in any movie this year. Huge apologies to anyone out there that is a big fan of Knights of the Zodiac, because this live action adaptation is pretty much as bad or on par with Dragon Ball Evolution as far as one of the worst anime adaptations I've seen. But at number 1, I have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Being a massive horror fan, I have been well aware of this film ever since it was announced as an idea. More power to those people that were excited about it or genuinely enjoy the movie. What they were trying to do here with this film, I thought was pretty terrible. It does have a concept that is intriguing, but never does anything fun or interesting with it. Sure, some of the kills I guess are okay. Besides the sheer novelty of just seeing Winnie the Pooh characters kill people, there's nothing else about this movie that I would say is good. It's just a very weird, uninteresting novelty. Horrible protagonists, story, if you even want to call it that, has nothing here to keep you engaged. More power to anyone that actually enjoyed it, but sadly I wasn't one of those people, but at least there is a sequel on the way for those that did like it. There you have it. That is my ranking of the top 10 worst movies that I saw in 2023. It's been a blast talking about films with you guys on the channel, and like I said earlier, share your rankings down below. What is your top 10 worst movies that you saw in 2023? Because I'm pretty sure that everyone's going to have a wide variety of different movies on their list, and that's what makes these things so fun. So share that in the comment section down below, and thank you guys as always for checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. But the next time, I'll see you guys later.